Hi everyone, Michele Courage here from the Raise Your Vibe podcast, Raise Your Vibe with Michele. And I have the amazing Kim here. And welcome, Kim. And I really want you to tell us a little bit about you. You are in California at the moment, is that right?
Yes, I'm in Orange County in Coto de Caza, California.
Wonderful, welcome. So
Thank you.
we met online. Basically, you sent me an email and I responded, and then we did a Zoom call. So I'm so happy to have you here on this podcast, and we can chat
Thank you.
all things galactic and whatever. I mean, starting this podcast already this morning, I couldn't put off a light language transmission of Lemurian. So that was our introduction. So Lemurian energy is here today.
Oh, I love it. I actually, the energy's so yummy right now, isn't it? It's so good.
Yeah. Oh, I've got goosies everywhere. Yes, absolutely. It's wonderful at the moment. So
Well, so basically I've been on this crazy journey for probably 5 or 6 years, and I started writing a book called The Corporate Hippie. And so through my writing this book and kind of how I use my intuition, my guides, my team, my ascended masters to kind of, I coached a team of women from $700,000 in business to 30 million in business over the course of about 7 years. So I decided, you know what, that information needs to get out to the world. So I decided to write a book.
So it's called The Corporate Hippie, and it's available now.
It'll be available in by March 12th. And so I'm working on the final edits, but it's not stopping me from getting out there and spreading the message and
talking about it. Yeah.
And meeting like-minded people like you, Michele.
Absolutely. I mean, like I said, it's really interesting that the Lemurian energy came through, because I mean, you know, I'm all about the galactics and introducing people into galactic energy. And I mean, I've got introduced through my spiritual practice, and then started doing paintings, and the paintings opened up another whole level of understanding and energy, sort of almost like a portal that are opened. And that's what I help other people do. But it was so interesting and so serendipitous, you and I coming together and chatting. So I always know that there's a reason for that. So yeah,
awesome. I love it. And you mentioned Lemurian. I have my Lemurian crystal right here. Yeah. So maybe that's what was going. But no, it was our conversation that we had was just so fascinating, and there's so many pieces, right, and ways that you can go down. But ultimately, for me, it's just I continue to be a seeker. I continue to be open and see whoever comes in my path, and pray that it's for the divine best for us, for both of us.
Yes. Well, I'm always so excited when I meet a new person, because I go, oh my goodness, is this their learning, my learning, or both of ours learning? I mean, nothing happens in the universe by chance. Nothing.
Absolutely. Isn't that cool?
And that's the thing. I love the idea that you say you're open, because that was my motto when I started on my really serious spiritual journey. Excuse me. I absolutely decided that I was going to be open, because I absolutely trusted my guides and everybody, my team, whoever's around me, that they would not, because I made a pact, because I feel you need to have boundaries when you do spiritual work, not with human beings, but with other galactic and energies too, because that's why I think you see a lot of people being sort of overwhelmed by their feelings and their reactions to their exposure to energies and stuff. So I made
there's so much. How do you do that?
I just made a pact. I mean, I believe everything is intention. So I basically made a pact. I sat down in my quiet time and I said, listen here, guys, I'm on this massive trajectory. I know I was going like this up, and I was all in for the ride. But I made a pact with the guys and said to them, look, I am not into the wacky shit that goes on, the negative energies, the crap stuff. If you're going to lead me down a path where you're going to show me that early on and I can't handle it, I am not here for that ride. So if you want to be with me and help me, I'm all for it. I'm open as hell, but make sure that you protect me. And I just put it to the back of my mind, and I knew that they were the best, because I'm very definite. I think obviously, well, not obviously, but when you're an old soul, you make the decisions based on intuitive consciousness of many lifetimes of learnings. And I just had an absolute boundary. Even as a child, I was not interested in Ouija boards and wacky stuff and playing glassy. To me, that was just like, I am not here for this. And
like
I'm
opening up that dark, like it's like opening that darkness, which I agree too. I'm all about just that protection around me.
You know what? Yeah.
we have enough of our own human stuff that we have to work through, right?
I mean, I have no doubt there are some souls that have come into this earth to actually mine, as you were, you know, for want of a better word, mine the dark side to gain information, because we are relaying information back to our higher selves, back to our other selves, and back to source energy to learn from the experience. So I have no doubt that the guy who is going down a dark path, you know, some of them are actually here to do a job. And that is their job on this lifetime. But I made it clear from day one that I was not up for that, and I was not signing up for that. And I've had to put my boundaries in. I mean, I've been driving along. I had my daughter in the car. Next minute, I had this massive vision of a horrific decapitation in front of me. And I just literally turned around and said to them, and for want of a better word, stuff off. I am not here for that. You do not come in and show me stuff like that while I'm driving. Because remember, a lot of the entities or energies have not lived a life on Earth. So they don't understand what it is to function while you're driving and then have these energies coming in and stuff. So that for me, my boundaries were in place early on.
No, I love that. And my intuitive healer that I've worked with, her name is Andrea Huzzi. She would tell me the similar things like about sleeping, right? I need to sleep and just all these. So I think that's very important. And for me, I've been working with so many like just human and relationship boundaries that it's interesting how this is just another level of boundaries. It's important.
Absolutely, because we're a sovereign being. We're a god. We're a goddess. We are sovereign beings. Why would you even entertain that? You know, if you think of yourself as source energy, why would source energy turn around and absolutely entertain these dark energies coming into the room? I'd put up my boundaries and say, I mean, I use quite strong language and go, fuck off.
You know? I love it. I love it. See, I'm already learning so much from you. I love it.
Well, thank you. I mean, to me, it's for me, I live my life very intuitively. So I often only find out why I did something after the fact. So I will feel something or act on it or do something or know something because I have claircognizance first. That's my strongest gift.
That's why I'm inner know, right? I just know, right?
Yes. And that is it's a much more difficult thing to qualify, put it that way, because you just know, and it's a much more difficult thing to start learning to act on because you can't follow. It doesn't show you the picture. You have to go inward and bring in the silence and the quietness and the trust within yourself to know that that is 100% the way forward for you.
And that's why, like, part of the book is where, for me, a lot of channeling has come because of stillness is where the magical shit happens, is, you know, what I like to say. And I'm sure you do too, because having that inner knowing, I've had to go inside to get clear on, and you know, when I have like spirit tells me to, call this person or email this person or
Act on
rest
it.
or,
Act
right?
on
I
it.
just, it's like, okay. And then just starting to get also that discernment when so many ideas start to come into my head. That's when I know I need to go just meditate or lay down or journal to know which is the actual thing that I'm supposed to be doing, because I can be overwhelmed with downloads.
Oh, absolutely. For me, I mean, I'm a creative person and I'm an energetic person. So everything that I think of is incredible. I can see the potential all the way to the end. And I often, in the past, I would happily go down a rabbit hole. And, halfway through, I'd suddenly wake up and go, oh, this is not bringing me joy. Why did I sign up for this? Why did I do this? Why did I go? And often when I was very young, much younger, it would have shitty consequences from relationships or stuff like that. And obviously now I'm much older, so I have been down quite a few rabbit holes, and now I'm kind of like, I'm seeing these little flags going and I'm not going down here anymore. But it's a huge shift to try and be quiet and really go within to figure out, does this really sit with me? And I found having a sort of a goal, kind of what I want to achieve, and that can shift because I don't attach to the goal. So the trick is not to attach to your visions and your dreams and your goals, but to have that general idea. It's sort of a general picture of where you want to go. And that for me is letting go of the attachment to it, that it must look exactly like that.
Right, because the universe, our source, typically, and what I say when I'm writing my manifesting and doing all of my stuff is that this or something better, right?
Yes,
This or
if it's in
something,
my highest good. So for me, I
right.
would say, if this is for my highest good, I would love to move to the country, or whatever it is that you want to manifest, what you want to bring in. Because for me, it's still for the highest good of what I want to achieve in this lifetime.
Right. Absolutely. Well, and intuition is, that's how, I feel like that's how I went into all of my business practices, not even really knowing what I was doing at the time. That's how Michele, that's how I hired people. I just knew they didn't have the right, all the qualifications on paper, but something told me when I listened that would be the right fit for the team or whatever. And I had a fabulous boss who allowed me that autonomy to make those decisions on my own. And I do feel like that's part of how things are going to change as we move forward into 2021 and into the next 5-10 years with work. Is it's a different pace, right? It's a different feeling. It's a different, and I was listening to one of your podcasts, and I'd love to hear more about this. Is you were mentioning something about, I've done a lot of vision boards. Yes. I was wondering, you were saying how you've changed some of your vision boards with like visualizing and Pinterest, and that was fascinating to me, because I do feel like it's like you're leveling up with your vision boarding, right?
Well, this is the thing for me. I'm getting goosies now. The vision boarding for me has changed from a visual picture, because I'm an artist and very creative. I would want the picture, and I would look at the picture, say I wanted this house in the country, which, by the way, I do. So I want this little sort of house in the country, and what I would do is I would take pictures, put them on my vision boards. I'd put the words near it, but I didn't realize that I needed to embody the energy. And it all correlated, because when I was younger, I started off as a graphic designer. I had my own little company at 18. And I decided that I wanted to be the sort of head boss CEO, as you do, of an advertising company. And what I remember looking back at it and going, actually, you know what I did was I embodied that. I looked at that vision of how I would feel walking into that space where the receptionist greeted me, and I walked into a business partner, and then I'd have graphic designers working for me in the space. And by embodying that, by the age of 20, I think it was 26, 27, I had 5 graphic designers working for me, boardroom tables, 2 business partners, and a receptionist. So I had absolutely embodied that. So yeah, I mean, along the path, blah, 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 we get to now where we're doing vision boards, and because I never did vision boards in those days.
Okay.
And then I started realizing that whatever I envisioned, it was there, but it wasn't quite anchoring in. It wasn't quite working out the way I felt it should. And I started putting together this idea of, if it's energy and it's an energetic transference, I need to sit in that energy now already to bring that
Right.
in. Because
I
if
love that.
because if you look at it, and I talk about this in that podcast episode, wealthy people mix with wealthy people, and they more than often get more wealthy. They
Yes.
build wealth. And that is because they're sitting in an energetic field, which is a wealth sort of creation energetic field. So and again, I don't know who the guy is or the person who said you are the sum of the 5 people that you mix with the most, and that,
Oh, wow. I love that.
yeah, so that made me take stock of looking around and going, who am I actually spending the most time with, and what kind of outlook. And it's not about looking down on a person or judging them. It's just understanding that resonance that they exude. I have beautiful friends, but we are all working on our poverty mindset. So for me, is I need to mix with people who have a different mindset, because and I know Denise Duffield Thomas, she's a brilliant Australian author. She wrote Get Rich, Lucky Bitch. She's written, I think, 3 or 4 books now. Brilliant. And she's also written Chillpreneur. And her idea is she went and bought, no, she didn't buy. She rented the house of her dreams so she could feel that energetic feeling of being so wealthy that she swanned in, and the house is beautiful, and she worked in that energy. I mean, she's a multimillionaire now.
I love that so much. Hey, can you come over to dinner tonight? I do. I think that is so valuable and so important of just, and listening to your podcast the other day, I really started to visualize myself in the energy of 2021 and like seeing myself on stage, like speaking to
Absolutely.
people,
So whatever you
seeing
want
myself giving a TED talk, seeing myself like
yes,
sitting, I mean, as crazy as it sounds, I
it's
had a
not
vision
crazy.
of
Why not?
me sitting on the lawn in Montecito, California with Oprah Winfrey.
Yay! But that's why I say it's bringing that energy into now, because if you think about it, we're looking at it in the future, so it's always going to be just out of reach.
Yeah.
But if you pull
Wow.
it in now, I mean,
Yeah.
and that's one of the biggest things that pushed me into a journey of being so much more happy, and because I was quite miserable having immigrated from South Africa to New Zealand. It was a tough time for me. And I just remember one day going, you know what, this is not working for me, so I can carry on down this path. I watched this tunnel happening and I thought, you know what, this is not a path that I want to go on. It's going to destroy my marriage. It's going to destroy everything that we as a couple have worked towards, because I'm so miserable, because obviously my energy is just permeating everything. And I decided that I remember the day I was driving back from the Paraparaumu, there's some interesting names in New Zealand. Was driving back from that little town along the coast, and I looked out and I thought, Michele, you know what? Your gratefulness has gone out the window. You are not practicing gratitude. And I made a pact every night before I closed my eyes, I would rattle off gratitudes. And it became a habit. Every night I would lie there and go, I'm grateful for my husband. I'm grateful for this bed. I'm grateful for the house. And I started off like that. And now it is an absolute practice. When I walk along, I will notice things that most people don't. Look at the flower and go, oh my word, look how beautiful the color is. And it just becomes a normality. And with that practice, starting that shifted me out of depression, out of, and I mean, I wouldn't say depression, it was just a frustration, a miserable, I was not happy. And, you know, I'm very big personality. So when I'm not happy, everybody feels it.
When mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
Well, you know what? I mean, I have a big presence. And yeah, you know, I've realized I can use it in a very positive way. And it's always been quite tough for me, because whenever I walked into a room, I made a difference to the energy of the room. And it's as a star seed, you have got to work through so many layers of doubts, of insecurities, of patterning. And you know, I'm a really big person. I'm 6 foot. I am built really large bones. I'm not a little tiny little princess ballerina. And yeah, and then I put myself as a soul into New Zealand, which is a country where everyone, sort of tall poppy syndrome is alive and well in New Zealand. No one should be shining out. And it works very well in a COVID situation, because nobody wants to step out of line, and everybody's very, and I'm not saying this in a negative way, in the New Zealand people are very kind people. So they care about their human beings and people next to them. So, but with that comes a conformist. I'm not going to step out and talk. I'm not going to, you know, be seen to be a big head or a, you know, in general, New Zealanders are not the type of people to go rah, 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 you know, look at me. They're
So
just
how
not
did
like
you,
that.
I'm interested to know, because that's been my biggest challenge, right? Boundaries, and then self-doubt, self-confidence, going and stepping into this space.
Queen.
What all have you done, like practices? Like I'm so interested to know what other things you've utilized to really work through that and embody that power. Like my whole thing is like, I'm a powerful creator, but really believing it cellularly on all levels.
Well, this is the thing. I'm still a work in progress with that. I mean, just coming out on camera took me 50 years. So, I mean, just just to start actually coming out and start even talking about the stuff that I experience has been massive for me. I had a quite a big sort of, some would call it an awakening. I was attacked in South Africa, and that shifted my whole, when I was younger, it took me and literally cut me down, from that big personality that I can do anything. I can fast, you know, I can literally be whatever I want to be. That cut me down and took, I always say, it took my freedom away, because I literally shrunk back. And it's been a long, hard climb. And I wanted to find out what it actually, because once I started figuring out about souls and soul purpose and soul paths and soul alignment, I actually asked my guides, why the hell did I have to go through something like that? What was the purpose of the learning? Because yes, I learned to stand up, and I got up afterwards and I went forward and blah, blah, blah. But what was the soul purpose? When you start doing Akashic records, you start wanting to know, why did I have to go through something like that in this lifetime?
Why did your soul choose that specific
that
event?
And I mean, it was a harsh learning. And my guides turned around and they said, you had to understand that you were not everything, and you had to make the connection higher, because within the attack, I was brought to my knees, and literally I was about to be raped. And I actually, on my knees, turned around, looked at the guy, and from nowhere, I just said, God sees what you do, and you will be punished. And I started reciting the Our Father, the Hail Mary, Our Father, because I've gone to Catholic school. And in that moment, I needed a higher power.
Wow.
And that was my soul's learning. It was, you cannot do this by yourself. You have to ask for help. You will.
Wow.
And that for me was my biggest shift. It's been the biggest shift in my life, because it was understanding that I needed to be brought to my knees to ask for help. And that vulnerability has haunted me, because I have always seen vulnerability as a weakness. That softness, the gentleness, the kindness, I've seen it as a weakness, because in many of my lives, I have been the perpetrator, the wealthy person using and abusing. In other lifetimes, when I've been mostly in the feminine, I have found it exceptionally hard to break through the barrier of giving for others rather than taking my power back. So, and I always knew in this lifetime it was about bringing the two together into balance, masculine and feminine, and understanding that when I'm in my feminine, I need not be powerless. I can be powerful, but still compassionate and soft. But to embody those two equally is one of the challenges that I have faced. And I'm still working on that, because when I'm in my masculine, I'm running advertising agencies, working in that massive, very cutthroat industry and coping fine. My body doesn't cope. I have high blood pressure. I was on blood pressure pills at 29, complete opposite. And then when I said, okay, I'm going to be an artist now, I literally cut myself off at the knees, all my power gone, and put myself in the artist's shoes, which, as an artist, it's not a kind world at the moment for most artists. We are always struggling to be noticed, struggling to have people and I had to work through all of that to come to this point of empowerment. And it was probably about 5 or 6 months ago, I suddenly realized that I need to be the mountain. I would be running around like, that saying, Muhammad in the mountain. I would be running around going, look at me, this is what I do, this is what I do, until I got to the point where I went, sit in your space, own it. And it started with the message I got was, you're a sovereign being. And then I realized I have to be the mountain. People can come to me. If you
Love
want
it.
my services, if you want to be in my energy, you come to me. And embodying that.
Good.
So ultimately, it gets to that point where you just be.
Isn't that beautiful? Like,
Isn't it a beautiful circle? Isn't it a beautiful circle?
Thank you for sharing that with me. I feel like so many women have gone through different types of trauma, right?
Yes, we have to.
It's how our gifts are activated, right?
Absolutely. Whatever you have overcome. I was listening to a podcast by a brilliant lady. She's an American lady called Tiffany. I think it's Tiffany Cartner, Project Me. And she said, if you want, because she's a coach, and she says, if you want to be a coach, you have to look at what you teach. What you have learned is what you teach. So if you don't, I don't want to say if you don't, because that's so like straight, but embodying and then helping people. And again, it comes back through from a service point of view. So the ego makes it, look at me, this is what I have to, like, whatever. The service, coming from the service, this is what I've gone through, I can help you with this. And it's such a subtle difference of how to do business.
So, and that's part of what I been obviously praying for and sitting still with, is that's how I want to, and I don't know exactly how it's all going to happen, Michele.
Absolutely. You know
Similar
what?
to you,
We may be laying the groundwork for next lifetime. You never know.
I mean, who knows, but I think the more that I can inspire and just share my authentic self, but I mean, it's not easy. I mean, I've absolutely had, and I don't know about you, but I've had some of the closest people to me kind of throw up all of these kind of things
that's what's happening now. I'll explain that to you, why that is happening to many of us. We are starting to stand in our power. We are starting to shine and anchor that beautiful light that is 5D. Now, when light shines at something that is not resonating, it is going to fight back. Yeah. So whoever is in your life that is fighting back at you, you are reflecting the beautiful light at them, and they are not enjoying that, the reflection. So if you get triggered by someone, stop blaming them. Look at yourself and understand, why am I being triggered? Because I am being triggered because there's something within me that I need to address, that they are showing to me.
It is. I mean, once you work through all the pieces of it, and there's a lot of it, right?
Oh, my word, there's a lot.
You get to the point where it is a gift, right? And you recognize,
absolutely,
if I didn't have this, it wouldn't allow me to do this. And you might not know for 3, 6, 9 months down the road, but I know that it's preparing me to be ready in a way that I would have been ready for.
Absolutely, because the thing is, when you have someone triggering you, if you were in a 5D state, you would be not triggered at all. Right. You would literally go, I honor your difference of opinion. I understand that you have that opinion, and but I have a different opinion of the situation. And I will let it go, because I honor you as that is your truth, and I have my truth. I'm not going to go around the back and try and prove my point, or it's a complete egoless interaction. And that is why I believe that the world there is so much sort of polarity at the moment. It's because the light is getting stronger and stronger, and the triggering is happening. But if you think about it, that needs to come out and up to the surface for us to dissipate it and dissolve it, so that we can move through into 4D and 5D and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. Bring it on.
So the more, and before this December solstice, it was a crucial time for a lot of people to shift as it is, out of their close proximity. Is understanding that I just don't want to be around people that are full of drama, or constantly whining or moaning. It's like it also you can appear quite I would say hard, because people looking from a 3D point of view would look at you and go, she's so hard, she's so unfeeling, she just cut me off completely. And but if you think of yourself as a sovereign being, the queen who knows she's queen is not going to go and get involved with the servants having a fight. And I'm not putting myself up, we're not putting ourselves up on that pedestal. We're just saying that inner knowingness, you would never stoop in and get involved in something that is none of your business.
I mean, it's about recognize it, like, knowing when that trigger is happening, and then being able to just, like, the more that I can just show love, like send love. That's obviously
we've been programmed to care about our family, to care about our parents, to care about the responsibility to older parents or brothers and sisters. But if you look at it from a soul point of view, they made contracts with us to come down and for us to learn the lessons. And if you have a family member that's going down a path that is just completely destructive, you can help from a compassion point of view, but you have to make sure that you don't get, number one, sucked into that energetic vortex, which is draining as hell, and it lowers your vibration. And still be compassionate to the situation. And I believe, rightly or wrongly, this is my belief, I would preserve my vibration before that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a mother who's, sick in a memory care facility in Dallas, and I've had to really like cut cords and be very mindful of that energy, talking to her on the phone and
Her
sending
path
her
is her path, and that soul has created that path for them to have lessons. And there are a huge amount of souls that are going to and have been leaving the planet because they are not able to make those shifts in time for the raising of the vibration. So this is quite harsh, so probably I'm going to ruffle a few feathers here. I believe we are in this process of making space for the higher vibration to come in at a rate of knots. We're on a massive, highly fast trajectory. And by doing this, we need to create space for the new energy to come in. And the deaths, many souls will have put their hand up and said, I will go, I will be part of that so that I can allow the new energies, because the younger kids are coming in. They've got that new energy. They haven't had many of them haven't had the lifetimes of patterning that we have. We're the path clearers. We're the ones who are coming in, clearing the path for the youngsters that are coming in who do not fit into the system. They don't fit into the schooling system. They don't believe in owning a house. Why would they? They want to travel the world. They want to sit in circles and enjoy themselves and love one another. Why?
They're not worried about money, and we all know money is just energy, and it's
we've
all
been
like
programmed to own a house. It's the right thing to do. They are bringing in this new, and I'm getting goosies as I say, so I know it's truth. They are bringing in this new energy. That is why they're being labeled with ADD and ADHD, because they do not fit into this world. And the more parents are understanding of this and a lot of the souls of the parents of these children will have made a contract to say, I know you're going to come in early and you're not going to work this really well. I will support you. So you're getting a lot of parents that are supporting younger kids for much longer than usual in their households because of this. And it's the way it is, because we're ushering in a new energy, a new earth, a new way of doing things.
Absolutely. And that's, I've got a 7 and 10-year-old in my life right now. And I know that it's so important for me to just be, know my worth and know my power and like trust my intuition and mimic or mirror for them what I hope that can change their lives at the age of 15, 16, 20 versus like me. I think I started on this path at 40, 45 years old. Can you imagine, Michele, if we'd known this when we were 20?
You know, I did a session, a soul alignment session with a girl in Canada. I mean, she must have been 23. I don't know. She's really young. She was onto it. She knew she was like this. She had Pleiadian and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, and when I went into her Akashic records, they were clean. And that to me says she's a new soul came in to usher this new world in, because she
I just got goosebumps then.
Yeah, so she had a session with me and she said, oh my word, I'm not fitting in. I came in with a twin and my twin and I don't enjoy one another, and how do I sort that? And I thought, oh my word, how awesome. And I said to her, you are bringing in the new earth. You are meant to come in and change and be the change. Be the change. Don't well, don't. I mean, for me to dictate to her is wrong. Try and be who you are as much as you can, and understand that the other souls around you are not going to enjoy this, because it is because you are breaking barriers. You are breaking the old paradigms. And just as we looked at our parents and go, oh my goodness, I'm never going to do what my parents did to me. I won't. It's just accelerated at the moment. It's just ramping up like hugely.
Absolutely. Wow. That's awesome. I love chatting with you. Oh my gosh, what else can you teach me?
Oh goodness. Well, I think we're going to have to do this again, because I think we've been going for about 40 minutes, 45 minutes.
Oh my gosh. I could see us having dinner and chatting and coffee and
this is going to have to be a part 2 on the podcast.
I love it, because I want to hear next time. I want to hear more about all the Palladian and the Galactic and some of the stuff we touched on. Like, that is fascinating to me. And
I am doing, in the next few months, I basically set one Zoom session per month on the Galactics. So what we'll do is we'll have a Zoom session where I will be explaining the energy of how the Pleiadians work, how I worked with them, how they came in, and then we'll do a guided meditation connecting you into that energy, because I believe the more you attune into that energy, it's like a radio frequency. The more you attune into the Pleiadian energy, into the Lemurian energy, into the Arcturian energy, into the Sirius energy, or whatever, Andromedan, as you finally attune, you'll start recognizing those beautiful energies coming in and know how to use them in your daily life to help, because they are just aspects of yourself living in a different realm, time zone, whatever, and they're living it at the same time. So it is quite fascinating. But yes, I think it's the 28th of January. I'm not sure. I think it's that date. I'm doing the Pleiadian one.
I'll be tuning in, because all of this is, I mean, I feel a little like, that feeling of like feeling a little crazy of like all of these things.
Yeah, no, well, you'll see a lot of people will drop off your life, because you can't, I mean, you just get to the point where you can't do chit chat anymore. It's not about talking about smack about somebody anymore, because you just can't. It just goes against your grain completely. So I am warning you, if you're on a massive trajectory, it is quite an alone journey, because you number one, you need to do a lot of work. And if you are like me, I've always been on a quest for validation outside. And that has always held me back. And learning that I don't need validation. The validation is me doing the work and connecting into the higher energies. That is what I'm about. And that is a massive learning for my soul it has been, because I've always looked to others for and that's the patterning that I had to break through in this lifetime.
Well, I do think sisterhood is going to be a huge part of it for me. I've gotten some downloads about like some ancient female wisdom and from my ancestors, like giving me, and it's so beautiful. And you can't make this shit up, right, Michele?
No,
you can't make it up.
I'm serious. There are certain synchronicities and things that happen, and the more you're open to it, the more it just happens. But I'm going to end this podcast now, because I'm always aware of how long people are prepared to listen. So if you've stuck this conversation out so long on this podcast, I thank you so much. I will put the connections to Kim in the sort of like sort of explanation in the box in the podcast. Kim, thank you so much for being being here, just being and doing the work. And I'm so excited to see where our connection leads. Who knows, I might even be able to meet you in person someday
I love it. I would
maybe
love
in
it.
America, or maybe in New Zealand, or maybe in Bali. Who knows?
I
Someplace.
love the Bali idea.
Well,
No, this has been so beautiful. And thank you so much for just letting a random stranger reach out to you and you just like opening your arms to me. And I love that.
That is the way where magic happens. So thank you so much. And I will chat to the listeners again very soon. And who knows, I'm sure we'll have Kim again onto this podcast. So your Instagram handle, just
Manifest with Kim.
Manifest with Kim. Brilliant. So I'm going to sign off now. Thank you so much, Michele from michellecourage.com. Thanks so much, Kim. Bye.